Good evening. Today is Tuesday, November 4th. I declare it 4 o'clock. It's a meeting of the Acushnet Board of Selectmen. Is there a motion to call the meeting to order?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Carries. Please rise to the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. First up on the agendas, we got meeting minutes. We do have a real estate tax classification later on at 5 o'clock. So is there a motion? I don't know, gentlemen, if you've looked at the meeting minutes of March 28th.
Mr. Chairman, I have, in all honesty, I have not had time to go through them, but if either one of my colleagues are fine with them, I'd be more than happy to second it.
Yeah, I had a chance to peruse them. They look good to me.
Mr. Chairman, I just had one note. Let me bring it up here. There we go. And this is a very minor change, but just for trying to get to the right page here, bear with me. On the October 21st, 2025 minutes, under Selectmen announcements, it says Mr. Gasper received a text on behalf of the PTO, went to Frontier a few weeks ago. Just to note that that was from Terra Grill.
All right.
In case anybody would question it.
Okay.
But the rest of the meeting minutes look okay. I would make a motion to approve the meeting minutes as presented with the slight revision to the October 21st, 2025 minutes.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, we've got a couple things going on here. Sorry, I'm going to shut my phone off. So we have Cora from the Fairhaven Acushnet Land Trust, correct? Just by way of introduction, David Wonar, Kevin Gasper, Bob Hinckley. We were notified by Pauline Texera that you have concerns about the the mill at the White's Mill. So I wanted to hear what you have to say, and we want to talk about it. Sure.
I appeared before the Historic Commission last week because it's really a liability for us. We have offered it to the town, we've offered it to the coalition. Nobody wants to take it on.
You have offered what, the mill or the land?
Both, I mean, it's we've gotten different bids from different types of masons on how to secure the building, which is really difficult.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's at this time that it's more of a risk for us to keep holding on to. We used to have volunteers that were there daily pretty much, and that's no longer the case. And we've put up signs for danger, please don't climb, poison ivy. We've tried it all. The signs get thrown into the briars on a regular basis.
This is Pauline. Hi, Pauline.
And we had mentioned we'd spoken with the Historic Commission, and they had also inspected the space, and we know that the building inspector has been wanting it to come down for a number of years.
Yeah.
So we're just asking for blessings on that.
Yeah. So I know, Kevin, I think you might have been on the board with us when we did the sesquicentennial. And
I was elected that year.
yeah, and even prior to that, there'd been conversations about putting community preservation money into
Right.
restoring it, right? That's
Yeah.
something that we wanted to do, and we brought in multiple experts,
Yeah.
and they said essentially it wasn't savable, but we had to essentially just kind of watch it deteriorate to
Yeah.
its thing. Now, it's kind of weird. It's still kicking around.
Yeah.
I mean, and I get it that it's might be an inconvenience or a concern of yours.
Yeah.
But it's part of the historical fabric of the town, and I will not personally support taking it down. I think that's just that's my personal feeling. Happy to work with you. I won't speak for my colleagues, but happy to work with you to secure it, whether it be with some fencing or something along those lines. But
I think that for us to put fencing around it is going to just challenge the kids that are going out there already. One of the things that we had
When did you take the property?
I think it was 2008.
Okay.
was when it was first
And
given
you
to.
guys knew that the mill was there, right?
Yeah, yeah, and there were, like you said, there were many different meetings that had occurred with potential community preservation funding to try and secure it. And everyone that we've brought in, I brought in some of the best masons around, and there's really no way to secure it, and it's just become so dangerous and at risk at this time that. I'm worried about, every time, we put up a no trespass sign or no climbing sign,
Mm-hmm.
I see pictures of, somebody's prom, somebody's, new band, if they've had, somebody with a guitar up on this window and somebody with a set of drums somehow in another set. It's just, I understand that it's part of our fabric. I know that there's family members in my background from Acushnet that worked there in the early 1800s, but it's really not salvageable. And I just I don't want to be the parent of a child that falls there. I don't want to be a neighbor of a child that falls there. And it is a real risk when you look into the interior of the building. Where a wall and a half have already fallen. It's extremely dangerous, and so I can understand you not wanting to sign your name onto it, but I do ask the rest of the board to understand that this is not a whim on us for wanting to provide a safe area. We'd be able to use some of the stones to divide the property properly, because right now what happens in the winter is that people go four-wheeling in somebody else's field because they feel that they can. So whether it's on their snowmobiles or on in their Jeeps,
Right.
And if we put up some of the stones to really delineate the property line, that might help our neighbors.
Yeah, John.
I have the same sentiment as you, Mr. Chairman, on that property. It is a landmark, and I think Matt Lopes won Man of the Year back in
Oh yeah,
sometime
a couple of years.
on that property as well. I think we would owe it to ourselves to do a little investigation work on it and see what's up, and maybe have a conversation with you, Cora, of the town taking possession of the property.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'd be more
we
than
need to
open to
send the
that.
right people out to assess the mill.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and take a look at it, and I think that the board could just do a tour out there together, take a look at what's going on.
Yeah, because there's
You
2
could give us-
acres
If
there.
you could give us the plot plan of what you actually own there, is it an acre, is it 2 acres?
It's about 2 acres. With the new bridge and drainage, there's now a drain that's coming right into it where the sign is. And so that's even, impacting it more now, so that we have a new flow of water coming at it.
And
The old flow used to go through there, so I grew up there, I delivered newspapers down here.
Yeah.
I'm extremely familiar with the property.
Right,
I only live right up the road, quarter of a mile.
okay.
So I'm pretty familiar with that area, and I know most of those residents over there. There's only one house left after the bridge that's still being occupied. There's basically one house before the bridge.
Right,
And then the Fernandez built their house way out back.
Yeah.
Because their parents lived out front. So there's not a lot of residents there, but again, I think we owe it to ourselves and to the townspeople to take a good look at the property and do an assessment, maybe have a conversation with you about what we can do.
okay,
Come up with some kind of a deal.
okay.
yeah, I don't know. I'm sure.
I agree. I think it's funny. I'm pretty sure in my past life, my band took pictures there as well. So, it is.
That's when it was still operational, right?
Absolutely. But going through and remembering when the volunteers came by and cleaned it all up and revitalized it, and with the signage and everything, I think I agree with both of you when it's historically significant for the town, even with the name attached to it and seeing it, and I would definitely be willing to work with you guys to figure something out.
Here's the thing, we've put some time and energy into Lake Street with a committee. I know, Kevin, you're the chair of the master plan committee. I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud, okay, maybe that group of people who've obviously looked at historical stuff as part of the master plan, you got some really talented people in that committee. And maybe you could, I don't know, when you meet with them again and say, hey, look, would you like to have a side hustle? And while you're doing the master plan, also look at that property. And, you know, I just kind of feel like if we can get some eyes on it, and maybe there's some suggestions, because we have community preservation funds, right? To maybe make some type of proper area, right? So people don't feel like they have to go into it.
Right.
And so maybe there's just a way to do this thing creatively, you know, versus just saying, all right, let's take it down, because that's the easiest thing to do, right? I guess, I get it.
Yeah.
You know, the
I mean, we've
safety
looked
first.
into, you know, trying to secure
Right, I
it.
just, you know, I don't know, maybe it's just me getting older, but
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, you know, towns, when things become inconvenient, the easiest thing to do is just say, all right, we're out, you know? And so with preservation, and whether it's land or historical buildings, I think you gotta take it to the absolute final before we just say we're gonna take this thing down. So that's my feeling.
I would be more than happy, Mr. Chairman, to take it back to the master plan. And Cora, just so you know, I don't know if you've been contacted by Serped, but we had a lot of discussion around the town about development ideas and stuff. In the property you just took, well, I think you're about to take ownership of Keith's Tree Farm. We have some really good ideas for the community, and perhaps yourself is a favor.
We don't own it yet.
I know you don't
and
own
we
it.
don't-
I know you
yeah.
don't own it yet, Cora, but there's been a lot of work being done out there, so we can have that conversation some other time. But I'd be more than happy to sit down with you and have some dialogue of different opportunities that we could have collectively between the town and Acushnet Favorite Land Trust, if you wouldn't mind.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. So we'll get back to you on that.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, thank you. Next item is okay, we got a communication from Nancy Riveros, chairperson of the Acushnet Beautification Committee. Nancy,
Yeah.
when'd you sneak in? Go on.
She decided to steal my outfit
Yeah,
today,
what
by
is
the
this?
way.
Are you the momager?
Yeah.
All right, what do you got, Nancy?
So, should I read the letter?
Sure.
And then go from there?
Mhm.
Okay. So, dear Board of Selectmen, I'm writing on behalf of the Beautification Committee to express some of our interest to better the facade of our community. First, I'd like to thank you for annually allocating funds from the budget to help support our projects and initiatives. In recent years, we made efforts to help supply shade trees on town property, which is an initiative that is backed by the Commonwealth. We purchased several American flags to display on our main ways, as well as purchased seasonal plants and flowers to beautify our town hall and popular intersections. We spent countless hours trimming shrubs, planting whiskey barrels, and maintaining what we produce. All, if these costs add up very quickly, and some serve as minimal beautification that lasts temporarily. We would like to take greater steps to make the town beautiful year-round. The New England Farms and Taunton Federal Credit Union have taken exceptional initiatives to make the center of town beautiful with their well-maintained buildings and landscaping. They have set the standard for what we should strive for in Acushnet. The Beautification Committee asks that you grant us permission to work with town officials and staff to create a 5-year plan to expand our budget to work on larger projects, establish a bylaw to regulate the facade of business in town, and apply for grants pertaining to this and encourage optimal aesthetics. We take pride in our wonderful town and only want to keep our community great for us and future generations. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to discussing this further with you all. So we've had a lot of feedback with, we decorated Perry Hill Road. We've done the whiskey baskets, we did the flags, and we want to keep that going, but $1,000 per year just isn't cutting it.
Yeah, agreed.
So we're looking to see if we can get more money from the town. Like we applied for a grant for the trees, we bought trees, we planted them. But we need more money. As you know, the cost of everything's gone up, and we just are trying to make the town beautiful. And like I said, we've had a lot of feedback, like from a lot of townspeople that, we haven't seen the town, look this good in a while. So we want to keep that going, and we want to start, some maybe donations too, like maybe donate, some people in town donate a whiskey barrel, and, we can start doing a little more as we go. We know that Rome wasn't built in a day.
Right.
However, we do need additional funding.
Jamie, do you know offhand if we have like a gift fund set up for the beautification committee? I thought we created that like years ago, Kevin.
Maybe a gift fund or revolving fund.
Like something like where people
I'll
can make
find out about a
contributions.
gift
Like,
fund,
because I think we got something like a
I don't
pass or
think
whatever,
there's a
right?
revolving fund.
So how would we allocate that, through like a GoFundMe, or
Well,
do
I
they?
think if we set up the account here, then I think like with through animal control, Becky has something set
No,
up. for-
if an account's set up, people can donate to it and funds can be expended.
Okay, so we just got to set up the mechanism for that, and then you can build some visibility around it.
But as far as budgetary funds, that has to go through.
Right, the budget
And
process.
and there's usually a limit to how much you can expend out of a gift fund. And it's by vote of the board.
Right. Well, if you can look into those mechanics, right, and then I don't know what flexibility we have with community preservation money. If it falls under one of these categories, maybe you can kind of thread the needle there. So I think the bottom line is the fact that we've got a beautification committee that wants to do stuff. I think as a board, we got to figure out how to get you the resources to be able to do the stuff you want to do.
Okay.
Maybe not everything that you want to do, but you just said an alarming number, right? $1,000. It doesn't go very far.
It really doesn't.
Right, so I get what you're trying to do, and I mean, even if, we take baby steps, right? 1,000 goes to 2,000, 2,500, whatever it may be, we could do a little bit more progressively every year, and I think, we could look at, again, the chairman hit the nail on the head, CBC funds, good for parks and recreation, what categories can we spend from within? I've known Nancy for a long time, and I think that guy Bob that volunteers his time doing things. He's did the police department for us and things of like. I mean, we have some great people that are just willing to give their time and volunteer their time. I think we owe it to them to at least do our best to find funds, right, and see what we can do to help out on our behalf.
Right.
And I will say I'm a little disappointed on missing out on the whiskey barrels because I didn't get no whiskey.
Sorry.
Mr. Chairman, on the other matters that were brought up, like the facade bylaw and stuff, I think that should probably be referred to the master plan committee, and because that's really under their purview to take input from the public and come out with a recommendation.
We're a little further in that process already, but we did have, when you talk about that, is it kind of like saying in a bylaw, because we talked about that going through planning, which most things would go through planning and things of the like, but are you talking about like one of the planning board members that's on the master plan talked about different kind of colors that be used when you're developing properties, so you don't have
Right.
purples with blacks and
Right.
oranges and lime greens everywhere, and so when you're kind of doing, especially down these main corridors, the business
Exactly.
corridors and things, I call them corridors, Middle Road, Main
Right.
Street,
Neon
something.
signs versus
Things of
recess
that,
signs,
so that
all
everything's
stuff.
kind of
Exactly.
matches up, right? Aesthetically, it
Right.
looks.
So you go to North Conway, right, and everything is, you have wooden signs, and they give you certain colors, so you can only, use so many colors on a sign. You have to use a wooden sign, that sort of thing. Colors of buildings.
Yeah, we talked about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
'cause it looks
We-
like the
we have-
charcoal gray is kind of making its way, like with Dunkin' and Burrito Place and Taunton Federal and now the High C. Like it seems like it's kind of that's becoming the adopted color these
Right.
days, but, you know, I think there's
Yeah.
definitely.
We did touch base on that a little bit, Nance, on with the master plan on things like that,
Okay.
right? If you wanna write me some notes and like
Sure.
with signage and, you know, different things, I'd be more than happy to take it back to the master plan committee and say, let's relook at this,
That'd be great.
you know?
Okay. And then, when do you think we'll have an answer on actually getting additional funding from the town? Would it be the following fiscal year, like,
So budget season where we usually start budget season January, February-ish,
yeah,
right? So we can figure something out.
Okay.
You know, obviously revenues are tight.
Right.
We have priorities. That's why I think the chairman hit the nail on the head, looking at CPC funds, what's our flexibility there? Because that's a greater pool
right,
and more of a common use if we can utilize that money for some of this stuff, right?
If we can get some clarification on creating a fund, a gift fund that people from the private sector, residents could contribute, I think we can take action on that, like
okay,
ASAP, and at least you'll have a vehicle for people to drop money into. You know, I'm sure Bob could get his social media expertise going. I'm sure people will step forward and do something like that, especially with the holidays approaching, right?
right.
That's
So
what we
like,
wanna do.
yeah, last year was the first time in many years that we actually decorated the town hall, we put lights
It was
up.
awesome.
But, however, because this is an old building, the fuses kept going off or breaking or whatever, and the lights kept shutting down. So this year, you know, we purchased LED lights, but we can only purchase a little bit at a time because now we're going into the, you know, we tried to allocate $250 each season, and like we're beyond that. And you know, you may not think that it looks like we've spent $1,000, but it goes very, very quickly.
Yeah.
So if we could, you know, get additional funding, like you said, I mean, I can't bank on people donating money from the town where they already think that their taxes are high. You know, we need to figure out a way to, you know, make the town look better because it really needs to get done.
I agree.
Well, it's nice that you came now and not in argument season.
Right.
Right, we call it
Right.
budget season, I call it argument season, right?
Yeah,
Because that's where we're at. So, I mean, we'll figure it out, we'll do
Okay.
something, right?
all right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. I appreciate all
Oh, by
your
the way,
time.
while you're here,
Yeah,
your daughter is awesome. You
thank
should
you.
be very, very proud. You and your husband and your family should be very, very proud of your daughter.
Thank you. Chip off the old block.
The father, right? All right. To the snowplow drivers, is that why you're here, Dan? I just got it from Jamie earlier.
I mean, I don't know how much more to do, trying to figure everything out. That's what I still do. $1,000 sign up bonus for now. You think you guys are $5 above state rate? And he's giving us some stuff, but this other stuff would be signing off.
This is just to put some guardrails against it.
Well, I tried doing it this way.
That's fine.
And what salt contract we got and stuff, I figured you guys, just for you guys to look at later on.
Okay.
That's like the state rates and, what we're getting for salt and all that.
Good. All right, thank you. All right, Dan, we get snowplow drivers. I know every year we want to make sure that we make it attractive for people to invest in their plows to serve the town. So what you're recommending is $5 above the state rate. I think it's something we've always done.
Yep, and that's why I give you guys, the new rates are there, again, you don't have to.
And then a sign up by December 15th, perfect attendance, $1,000 sign on like a bonus, right? Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on this stuff?
That's basically just following what we've done in previous years, those first two steps, $5 above state rate.
Yep,
$1,000 perfect attendance. We did talk quickly, Mr. Kelly and I talked about something about doing some tiered things for people that sign up late, Dan. I don't know if you,
Okay.
if that, I mean, I like to put a cutoff date on mandatory, 100%, perfect attendance, and a cutoff date. So I kind of drew up this number of December 15th, give it like 45 days from now. I know it's not exactly 45 days.
Yep.
get you to be able to get out there. Anybody that signs up by December 15th, perfect attendance gets $1,000.
Okay,
Obviously, if you're signing people up, you're gonna need to know if they have scheduled vacations, right? So they ain't dinged by this. So if they give you that by December 15th, we know that, and that schedules forward to the Board of Selectmen's office. And we have that notification, so it doesn't come up as an argument in the future. Well, they told me, but we didn't have that information, right? So I'm trying to prevent the debate later
Okay.
on at the end of the season
Yep.
by doing that. We kind of talked about, Mr. Kelly and I, not the board, kind of talked about, people signing up later than December 15th. If you had somebody come in, maybe make that a different rate, $750, again, to a certain date, maybe January 1st, and then it's pretty much over.
okay,
Or we can do something else for $500. We could discuss that at an upcoming meeting, though,
okay.
just to get
Well, I
that,
just
but
want
for
to try to
right
get this
now.
letter out to the drivers and stuff that we have now.
So right now, Dan, you got everything you need to go all the way up to the December 15th date, right?
Yep, so we'll go with that.
So we got some time for the board to digest what Mr. Kelly and I had put together, this kind of scribbled up piece of paper, but it's something to try to make it a little more fair for people coming on a
So,
little
yeah, I see we
later.
had 2 storms, one didn't show up for one or something like that. You're
We're
saying?
trying to figure that all out without
Yeah.
wasting up too much time tonight and
Yeah.
trying to figure it all out on camera.
Alright.
Mr. Kelly and I did some quick sketching, and he just passed that on to the board at the last minute.
Okay,
The $5 above state rate, the $1,000 sign-on bonus, effective December 15th, if the board's okay with the December 15th cutoff for the $1,000.
okay,
Perfect attendance, knowing when you sign people up and they give you all the paperwork, you fill out like a form with them and put if they have any scheduled vacation time all the way to, I would say, April 1st.
okay.
Because we have snow, and I'll never forget the year 2015 where we got massive snow in the month of March, pretty much right through March, back-to-back storms. So we'll have that going, and I think that goes, what did we do in the past? Another thing that became a certain issue maybe 2 years ago was, what did we vote? We voted per vehicle,
Correct.
$1,000 sign-on bonus per vehicle.
Yeah, we
Reason why,
probably
gentlemen.
have maybe 2 or 3 contractors that get more than 1 vehicle, maybe 3 at tops,
But
somebody gets
it was a
2.
problem, and I'm
Yes.
trying to get rid of problems.
Okay,
And that so everybody's clear, right? And we're not getting, so you don't want to end up peeing off somebody
Yep.
that's one of those individuals that have 3 or 4 trucks, one
Yep.
contractor, 3 or 4 different drivers in it, and you're saying, I'm only giving you 1,000 because you're one person. You're not one person, you have 4 trucks,
Yep.
right?
So
And
per
I know we had this problem.
okay,
I'm trying to defuse that problem.
Yep.
So it's $1,000 perfect attendance per vehicle.
okay.
Mr. Kelly, is that cover what we did in the past?
Yeah,
I
and,
think that's what we did last year.
yes. And the typical issues on insurance and liability and everything that we worked out the past.
Yep, correct, yep.
Okay, Mr.
Sounds good.
Chairman, if
Fair
I
enough.
may. Yeah, Dan, this letter looks like it covers all the bases.
Yeah, that was last
Yeah.
year's, so, but she did put in the new rate for, the workman's
Yeah.
comp thing. But again, we can tune that up a little
We
bit. I can
could
put
work
cadence
on the
in, so-
letter tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Other than the date Mr. Gasper brought up, which I
Yep.
agree with the December 15th, just to,
If the
Walk
guys
it
are
in.
online, yeah.
I mean,
It's tough. A lot of guys wait till it's ready to snow
Yeah.
that week and sign up.
I'll make a motion to approve the $5 above state rate, additional stipend with 100% perfect attendance at $1,000,
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
to be submitted by December 15th.
All right.
Very good.
Thanks, Dan.
Then we get our state rep, he's gonna plow for us this year too.
They got trucks.
They make clouds for Rivians?
Have a good night, guys.
Yeah, we'll try. The Rivian. All right.
I like the Rivian.
Right. Elected municipal special employee exemption form for Rebecca Tomlinson. This is, what's this for?
Mr. Chairman, if I
Yeah.
may, I believe this is Rebecca has a family member that owns a
Oh, that's
business
right.
that involves
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
animals.
That's right.
So this is a disclosure form saying if anything goes wrong at that business,
Mhm.
Rochester or another municipality would have to respond to it
Right.
for inspections.
Got it. All right, so motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Next item is Leslie Perkins submitted her resignation as a library tech. Is there a motion to accept with regret?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carries. Next item here is our Community Transit Grant Program, and this is got our COA director here. It's good that we've got a Mass DOT grant opportunity, and we've got our 2 state reps here, so good timing.
All right. So we are working on applying for the Mass DOT Community Transit Grant Program, which would allow us to, or if we are selected, we would have funds to purchase a new 12-passenger van. Part of that application process is basically just a letter of commitment stating that the town of Acushnet would take on the responsibility of $19,118. So this is, again, just a letter of commitment. Obviously, I'm hoping that we are selected, but we wouldn't have to have those funds readily available
I think
currently.
we did this last year, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
This has been done in the past, Mr. Chairman, and it's been a successful program.
All right.
Motion to approve as presented.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I've got
And
a letter.
while we have our 2 state reps, I'll take advantage of their time right now, and I will say, we desperately need the van.
We already wrote a
Yes.
letter of support,
They do.
Thank you.
and we'll continue to advocate as much as we
Thank you.
as we can.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Appreciate
Thank
that.
you.
You bet.
Great.
I have a letter of
Monday
support
also.
that each of you can sign next to your name, and I've got one that I have to sign.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we do, gentlemen, we have an executive session, a couple executive
There you go.
sessions,
Thank you.
and then a hearing, but under Selectmen's announcements, took the privilege of inviting our state reps in who do have some announcements, actually,
Sure.
to share with us. So one is regarding Slocum Street,
Yes.
and also some other work that they've been doing, that Rep. Willett has been doing, so.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and members of the board. For the record, my name is Mark Silvio, State Representative for the 10th Bristol District. I'm here tonight. I wanted to give you an update and share some good news relative to the Slocum Street project. As we all know, this is a project that has been, there's been bond authorization for this project since 2014, with a bond reauthorization in 2022, but no dollars that have come directly to the town. I can tell you, right after my election and before I got sworn in, I spoke to each one of the select board members who said this is a very important priority for the town to get some relief from MassDOT for the Slocum Street project. It's a very important project, it's a main road, and the town, as you discussed earlier, and we've had discussions certainly with the Finance Committee last year, the town needs relief. You levy the full 2.5%. You need funding to support what you do, and so any support that MassDOT could provide would be welcome. So that meant we need to be dogs with a bone. In other words, as your state representatives, it's important for us to do everything we can. So in March, we sent a joint letter, Rep. Willett and I, to MassDOT and Governor Healy requesting that funding be made available. And then subsequent to that, I spent quite a bit of time on the phone with officials from MassDOT, not only articulating the importance of the project, which they knew, but the impact, the positive impact to the town if they could provide anywhere, within that $1.5 million bond authorization to Acushnet. And so I'm here tonight to announce to you that MassDOT has committed $1 million for this project to the town of Acushnet. Kudos to Mr. Kelly, who I've been in regular contact with, providing as much information as MassDOT is required in order to justify the release of those dollars. I know there's a contract that will be executed between the town and MassDOT for that funding, but the email that I passed out this evening is their confirmation. I asked that they put in writing their commitment to providing that $1 million. So very proud to be up here with my colleague, Mr. Willett. And I want to thank you. I mean, we had a call. Mr. Gaspar, Selectman Gaspar was on that call along with Mr. Kelly, myself, and Mr. Willett. to really advocate for these dollars. Spoke to Gus Bickford, who is the head of intergovernmental relations, about the importance of these dollars being made available. So I'm very proud that we were all able to work together and get this job done. So wanted to notify you of that. And also, Representative Willett is here to talk about a couple of earmarks in the 26 budget that he filed, and I was proud to co-sponsor, that are additional dollars that will come to the town of Acushnet. So I'll turn it over to him unless you have any.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say, Mark, is that, you know, when you announced that you were running for office, I know we sat at Dunkin' Donuts, right, and we said, Slocum Street, Slocum
Yes.
Street, Slocum Street. I'm blown away, right, because a lot of candidates will give lip service and say they're with you, but you delivered on this one, and, you know, you sticking to it and not giving up really is a testament to you, and I think that was the appeal. You knew you could, being a former town manager, you could hit the ground running, and you told people that's what you wanted to do, and you did. So thank you for that, and thank you for staying on top of it.
Thank you, Mr.
You're
Chairman,
not
very
giving up,
much.
and I know Steve provided a lot of support as well, but,
Yeah.
you know, you were very nice in passing out the bouquets to us, but really hats off to you for doing this for us, so thank you.
Yeah.
I told you we'd be back. You didn't believe us?
Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I do want to say to you, Mr. Sylvia, I'm usually skeptical with new state reps, right, and elected officials of the like, but I gave you the benefit of the doubt. You and I had 2 or 3 different conversations.
Yes.
One of them was on Zoom with Mr. Kelly and Mr. Bickford, and Mr. Olet was on that Zoom meeting, and I said to them the urgency of this funding. I seen your face in that response, and you knew right away it was absolutely critical. And then through further dialogue with the town administrator, Mr. Kelly, we continue to have it. He kept sharing information. I said, you need to give them this, you need to give them this, add this to it, to push and get as much as we could, right? And I think I might even said to you once, I think it was at the Veterans Memorial that we had last year, celebration, and I said, you know, Rep. Sylvia, I'd be happy with half the amount of money, right? Because it's been hanging out there for so damn long. Nobody else has done anything for us. The project's underway. Shovels are in the ground. We absolutely, it's critical we get this funding. You got that message, and not only did you get the message, and I'm gonna say this, you followed through, as Mr. Lona said, and you delivered. So for that, I am extremely grateful to you, Mr. Olet, and everybody else that was part of this, you know, getting this thing done once and for all on behalf of our constituents, right? I mean, it's incredible that you got it done in a short period of time. So for that, I commend you both.
Actually, after that meeting, when we got together, I said, why don't we shock Gasper and get at least $1 million? You were asking like 700,000 at the time. And I said, why don't we shock him and come up with $1 million? And I'm glad he did it.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad you didn't come with a cardboard check. I would have walked you right back out the door with that cardboard check.
I wanted a check, but we couldn't do it. You just guaranteed the funding.
Kudos to the chairman to make sure that we got this in writing, right?
Good job.
And kudos to you that you brought this in writing, and now we actually have it in writing. So we will be receiving $1 million thereabouts.
Yes.
I won't hold you to
Up to $1 million in reimbursement.
number of $1 million, but
Yeah.
I was working with Mr. Kelly most recently on some of the project and figuring out and adding in some additional costs that I thought was reimbursable. So
And thank you to Betty.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
Betty,
I
that's
should,
true.
I
Yep.
should introduce
Betty
those
the
of you who don't know
pit bull.
Betty. Betty DeBenedictis is my legislative director. She's been up at the State House for 18 years. She's worked for a Democrat and a Republican, has enormous respect up there, and she's been my partner.
I think, I didn't recognize her because I only met her once, but she was on the Zoom that we were on,
Yes.
wasn't she?
Yes.
so.
I went-
Yeah.
As soon as the chairman said,
Yeah.
you know, Betty,
Yeah.
pleasure to meet you in person, Betty.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for your hard work as well.
Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you both for being responsive. That's all we've ever asked in this community, is having state reps that listen, don't just show up for photo ops, and actually get down to brass tacks and get things done. And I will second Betty being relentless and always staying in communication with us, and it's very much appreciated.
Yeah, and it doesn't end here, right? So to your point, we have this commitment in writing, but it means that we collectively, including your state reps, have to continue to be on MassDOT to make sure that they're making the reimbursements when they need to make those reimbursements. We have that commitment, but it means we also have to stay on it as your elected representatives, and we will.
Just don't change your cell phone numbers.
It was kind of nice, Rep. Sylvia, to know in that Zoom meeting what I did recognize right away is the cooperation we did have from them, right?
Yep.
We weren't getting the snub nose and everything else. They were all heavily engaged in the conversation when each one of us spoke. they were listening, so that was, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Versus other meetings that I've been in, and it's like, yeah, well, I'm just here wasting my time.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? I
That's a
felt
good
pretty
point.
good about it, so thank you again.
Sure.
It's
Yes.
and you got some other.
Yeah, we squeaked out a little more money.
Here, I'll let you.
So while Mark was squeezing the DOT, I was squeezing the chair of Ways and Means to try to get you 50K toward engineering for the school problem. Ended up getting you 25K. It's geared toward the leak that's at the gym in the closet area, if you can do that, but if not, you can use it toward the HVAC. Also got 20 grand for the senior center for the HVAC to replace another unit. You did one unit last time, we're doing another one now. So we were successful in those funds too. So that's another 45K again. The earmarks were cleared. We told Jamie that the governor did release them. We were very nervous with the federal situation, but the governor released the funds, so we should be good to go with that.
Awesome. Great. Thank you very much.
Okay?
Sounds good. Thank you.
Jamie will be following up on getting the cash.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thanks.
I love you guys. You guys are like Schwarzenegger and Vito. You know, like, this is awesome.
Yeah, we're so good.
That's
Glad to help.
Franco Colombo. Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much, and thank you, Billy.
Keep up the good work. Yeah.
Thank you for all you do. Thank you.
Good job. Take care.
All right, see you guys. Have a good one. All right, so we got a quick executive sessions, and then we'll have 5 o'clock for the assessors.
Mr. Chairman, can I just
Anything
add
else
on to
under-
Selectmen's
yeah, please do.
announcements here?
Yep.
I had a really good conversation with the chair of the FinCom today. There's still some unresolved questions that different members of the FinCom and multiple members of the public have in regards to the Old Colony debt exclusion. There was an email sent out by the chairman today to try to coordinate one more meeting before we get to the actual election. And I know there's some back and forth, but I want to reiterate that I really think that if the FinCom's requesting more information, we definitely need to schedule at least one more meeting. And I really don't want to see a restricted one. I know I haven't checked it since, but before this meeting started, the proposed date that Chairman Boucher brought up is not available to Old Colony because they will be in Lakeville that day going over it. They did offer a Monday, next Monday, as a meeting time, but there was a cutoff time. So basically, it would be a controlled meeting to the point where if it went over, they'd have to leave. So I would like to make sure that happens. Right now, I don't have a good date, but the tentative date that Old Colony did have available was on Monday, but it would have to be an earlier meeting with a hard cut of 5:15. I proposed to Aaron Polanski, with nothing else on their schedule, the possibility of the 13th. That would be a Thursday, though. I don't know what you gentlemen would have going on there, and I haven't seen a response from Aaron yet to see if it's a possibility, but out of respect for Chairman Boucher, I would like to follow that up, and as long as you guys are okay, I mean, ultimately, we have 48 hours to pull a meeting out of our hat, and if we can get some dates, I just want to see if you guys are okay with, even if it's last minute, trying to make this happen.
As you know, I'm on that committee for Old Colony, and I did send an email to the group to Aaron saying, you know, I'm personally in support of having another meeting, and if you're gonna do a Saturday, like whatever, right? Whatever it takes to do, we should do to get as much information out there as possible. So I know Mike initiated that, and we'll stand by and do what we have to do.
Excellent.
All right. Mr. Gasper, anything under announcements?
No, not that I'm aware of.
All right.
A lot of other things going on, but no, not that I could.
All right, just a couple things just to get, last night we had town meeting. Thankful that the folks at town meeting approved the golf course project to move forward. I think probably the next time we meet as a board would be good to get the golf management committee and that committee together, all of us, to kind of figure out what the next steps are. Personally, I know, we've talked about it in the past. It's a good group to keep that group together, and maybe charge them they were exploratory before, but maybe it's the building committee to go forward with that. But that's just my thoughts, and you guys can kick that around.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
based on what you just said, I think that's, if you plan on keeping those individuals from the exploratory committee active until we figure out exactly what we're doing. We have to reestablish
Right, and
the
that's-
committee, right?
yeah.
Because we sunset to a certain date when we did the reappointments
Yep.
back in June or something like that, right? I think we went to a September date. So
Yep.
if we're gonna do that, we can call it, instead of exploratory committee, we can call it a sub-building committee or whatever the heck we wanna call it, right?
Just, I would ask, communicate that, since it's not on the agenda, communicate your support for that to Mr. Kelly, and then we'll put it on the agenda, and then we'll reestablish, get everything reestablished and move it in the right direction. So, exciting stuff.
No, he's right there. I think he
All right, well, I guess, again,
I'm with you 100% on it. I think it's a good idea to keep everybody involved because there are certain elements of that design that's up in the air, right? So keep everybody active.
all right,
Mr. Chairman, on
Yes,
that
sir.
note too, my biggest concern is I don't want to see anything stall.
right.
So I think
We gotta move.
getting on it is definitely something we have to do.
100%, good. All right, we do have 2 executive sessions. One executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining, water, sewer, United Steelworkers, if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the public body, and the chair so declares, and the board will return, well, no.
Yeah, we'll return.
Will return.
Yeah, will return, all right, because we have that hearing. We'll return to public session at the conclusion of the executive session. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Roll call vote, Mr. Gasper?
Yes.
Mr. Hinckley?
yes.
All right, you're going executive session. There, executive session number 2. We don't need this one, right?
No,
We
Mr.
already
Chairman,
talked about
that was
this.
put on in
Last
case there was a
Yeah.
report.
All right, we don't need anything there, so we're good to go. All right, we'll,
An executive session.
is there a motion to reconvene the meeting?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. We have to do a real estate tax classification hearing with our principal assessor, Kelly Koska. I know that we're moving a little quicker than the assessors have, but we're gonna do our part of it. I know you guys are meeting on the 12th, and then we'll meet like right after that on our end to get this taken care of. So I think today is just to open up the hearing. You provide your testimony, I guess, or information. We won't take any action, but we want to at least have the hearing. If there's anybody from the general public who wants to speak, they can do that. So,
Kelly, can we close the hearing today and they can vote at the next one?
I know because new growth is not formally certified,
So
they
we have
cannot
to
make a
wait.
formal
Right.
vote. They have to continue to
Yeah.
a date and time
Yeah.
certain.
so we'll do that, okay.
Yeah.
All right,
That's my understanding.
Okay.
all right, so is there a motion to open the tax classification hearing?
So moved.
I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I'm just gonna go through the PowerPoint. I did the handouts of the scenarios of what we're looking at for possibilities, which is the green highlighted sheet, Excel sheet, which shows the difference of, in FY 2025, the Board of Selectmen voted for a 35% shift in the tax rate certified were 1079 and 1522. 1079 for residential, 1522 for commercial, industrial, personal property. In this year's scenario with the levy that was going to be proposed, we're looking at the same grid down towards the middle of the page. If the Board of Selectmen choose to go with a 35% split, you're looking at tax rates at 1050 and 1480 respectively. If you look at the bottom, it shows the percent change of difference per class. Residential shows about a 6% increase of value. Commercial about a 4, industrial 10, personal property 3, for the total of 100%. And we're looking to get a tax levy, maximum tax levy would be the $23,605,706. The second page of that attachment basically does the breakdown of new growth by class and value, as well as percent change by class 25 versus 26. It basically breaks it all down and repeats basically the numbers that I mentioned before as well. I'm going to go to the presentation, and the first slide is just the basics where the levy base from fiscal 2025, the 2%, the Prop 2.5 is added, the new growth estimated this year of $192,400, the FY 2026 debt exclusion estimated of $421,830, arriving at the maximum allowable levy of the number of the $23,605,706. If you do percentage of value by class for maximum levy, the distribution of value is broken down. In the middle of the screen you see by percent. So the residential class is about, if it was a single tax rate, carries 89% of the burden, commercial 2, industrial 2, personal property 6. So that's when you see the breakdown, and then on the far right of the screen, it would be 1096 for a single tax rate. Just going over how a tax rate is set basically is just that. They take the total tax levy of the $23,605,706 with the total value of the town of the 2+ billion, divide the two, and again we get that 1096 per $1,000 value if there was a single rate that would be certified or voted upon for classification. Just go over the stats. This is why shifts are done. It's basically to allocate burden between classes, and historically the town of Acushnet does allocate more of the burden on the commercial, industrial, personal property classes rather than residential because of the high percentage of residential real estate we do have in town. The shift can go up to 150%. We have never done that historically. The last 3 years have been 35%. Bob has stats on what's been done historically, well, I think over the past 20 fiscal years. Obviously, you don't want to reach that 150 because it is pretty common. Once a town splits a tax rate, it's very hard for them to go back and go to a single or a lesser rate because the shift, the residential class, which is the shift to try and take the burden upon in the following year, if the shift goes down, then theirs increases, of course. On this one, the tax shift possibilities is exactly what I was speaking of. On the left hand of the screen is the share of percentages by tax shift. So if you look across the top was the 2 slides before on the allocation of percentage of value. If you look down fourth from the bottom, again, I'm just comparing it to the 35% shift because that's what we've done for the past 3 fiscal years. You see for residential, being at the 89%, if 35% is voted upon, it goes down to 85%. It impacts, of course, the other side, which is the commercial, industrial, personal properties. Their burdens increase to take the burden off the residential class. And then at the bottom, there's just a little bit about what we would be looking at if it would be the same scenario of the 135 shift between the 2 fiscal years. It would be a decrease of 29 cents for the residential rate and a decrease of 42 cents for the commercial, industrial, personal property rates. Again, average class comparison on the second sheet that I had given from the Excel spreadsheet with the different tax information. I have 7% for the single family. If you average all of the residential, not just single family, it's roughly about 6. 4% for commercial, 12% for industrial, and actually the personal property class went down in value about 7%. That is, again, the influential factors on that would be we didn't have a lot of, historically, the town of Acushnet, the solar farms are really bringing in the personal property value and growth. New ones have not come on board to completion where they can be accounted for in the tax levy, so we're kind of in the interim years. There are 2 open permits right now. There is one that will be assessed for the first time in fiscal 2026, but I don't think it's actually at 100% because it hasn't connected to Eversource to actually be functional.
Can I just ask a question?
You may.
And I don't know if this is really the assessor's deal or if it's the planning board, but actually I think we went to town meeting a while ago, I thought, to give the town the ability to negotiate pilots with solar farms, because we had talked about, at least if we know what the consistent payment is, if you wanted to grab a little bit for operating costs, not all of it, we want to at least have that in the toolbox. So, with any of these projects, do you know if that has been?
Pilots have not been entertained by the Board of Selectmen, and Acushnet is unique where there is that solar revenue legislation. I don't even know if a pilot could be entertained. I'm not really sure legally
I think so.
if it can.
We went through that. We got authority to do it.
Okay,
Primarily, Mr. Chairman, We've had discussion with some representatives of various
Okay.
solar companies. The fact that they are not hooked up to
connectivity, yeah.
to the grid, we have started, we have told them we are open to discussion.
Okay.
But they are asking us if we even have influence with Eversource to get them closer to the
Okay, all
grid.
right, so I know this is a part, I just want to make sure that maybe we can put this as a topic of discussion at a future meeting. I'd hate to at least have that option go by the wayside.
Oh, it's not by the wayside, but they are,
They'd rather have a pilot, right?
they would rather have a pilot, and their problem is to negotiate a pilot, they have to actually know
Got it, okay.
when
Fair.
they're going to connect.
Okay.
And
Fair
Mr.
enough.
Chairman, just to shed some light on that, that is a substation issue at the moment, so there's no definitive date from Eversource whether it's gonna happen anytime soon, but they are working on it.
Okay.
So, you know, like Mr. Kelly said, they need to know when they can be operational to do it, but I'm pretty sure we got authorization for 2024
Mm-hmm.
to obtain pilots.
Yeah, okay, good.
The next screen I'm on is, again, it's just kind of repetitive information, just so the Board of Selectmen can see where the growth and the value of the town in the direction it's going. Obviously, sales are what drive the residential values. So, and we don't analyze the future, we analyze the history. So for this particular tax year, 1/1/25 was the assessment date. So anything behind it was what was assessed to drive value for this particular fiscal year. This year also, just so the selectmen are aware too, Chapter 653, this is the first year that we can capture, that we were able to capture all the assessors to June 30th, only on improvements, not land or subdivisions or things of that nature. We don't have a lot of new homes being built or new lots being created in high numbers, if you will. It is happening, but it's at a slow progression. Just to keep that in mind. So in essence, I'm looking at the $192,400 of growth this year, going to June 30, 2025 with new construction residential. So this first year, technically it's 18 months rather than the year for that particular category. So for 27, keep that in mind. I can't double dip the other half of 25 for anything new.
Noted.
Just throwing it out there.
Better to know now than later.
And these last few slides are basically looking at value versus tax dollars. Again, comparing uniform numbers of the 35% shift. I stayed with that again because that is what's been ratified for the past 3 fiscal years. The Board of Selectmen obviously can take a look at the scenarios of the different shifts and percentages on the first sheet with the green highlights to see what they'd be looking at in regards to lessening the burden or increasing it or whatever direction they're going to go. And this is again for the commercial aspect of it, 25 versus 26. And that's pretty much it in a condensed format.
Great.
I know that unfortunately I was unable to get new growth certified by the Department of Revenue. Some technical issues in regards to what they were requiring of me, and they just wanted a little bit more information. But Jamie and I have spoken, and the Board of Assessors is scheduled to meet November 12th. I'm looking to have new growth certified by end of this week. I'm going to make every stellar effort to make that happen in order to proceed next week so everything can come together to fruition. Once new growth is certified, then the accounting aspect of the recap gets put together. I've spoken to Todd, and Jamie had mentioned to Pam regarding yesterday's town meeting. They're looking to button up and get all that info in by next Monday. So in a perfect world, if this all happens and it lines up, we should have a tax rate by the end of next week or early the following,
Excellent, great.
hopefully.
Mr. Chairman, just to follow what Ms. Koska just said, I'd much rather have new growth be certified and the Board of Assessors have a chance to actually take a vote on this. So I would make a motion to continue this to the Selectmen's meeting room on November 13th at noon.
Okay, sounds good. I'll second that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, have a night. All right, cool. Thank you. I know you guys are
Okay.
working hard over there. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the finance gurus, the threesome, Kelly, Jen, and Jamie V, have met quite a bit on this to make sure that not only did we present and are getting new growth certified early, but we're getting all this done very quickly compared to years past. And I just want to call the board's attention to the fact that all of those individuals have been working and pushing various boards and the staff to make sure that not only do we get the tax bills out on time, but that this financial information is out there for when the vote comes up on the debt exclusion and everyone understands what's going on. So I think it's commendable that they have been doing so much work and occupying my conference room so much.
That's great.
We appreciate that, JV. But
I know
it's part of
it's,
the job, right? That's what we have to do. But so, like I had mentioned, the Board of Assessors will be meeting on November 12th. On their agenda will be their recommendation to the Board of Selectmen on the tax class shift. And November 13th, like you said, at 12 noon, I am available to again present. I know Selectman Gaspar isn't here. Obviously, this is available to him if he wants to review it beforehand, and I'm available for any questions between now and then as
So
well.
Brown, on behalf of the assessors, I know you still got some stuff to do, but anything else?
Yeah, I mean, you continued it. I can give you my spiel. I can come back at that point. Just, I mean, my take on it is I've always been against the big split, and our job as assessors is to be fair and equitable. And I think when we shift the burden from one sector to another, it's not fair and equitable to one sector or the other. Back when I had to make the decision and sat in your seat, we were at 15%, which again means 115%, right? And it was that for 3 years, and then it went up to 20% in 08 for another 5 years, then it went to 25% for 10 years, and then for the past 3 years it's been at 35, so 135% of the burden shifted to the businesses. I've always been against it. I'm not speaking on behalf of the assessors, I'm just speaking as an individual. I think the risk of going up on this, as you can see, you know, right from the get-go, it doesn't reverse. It climbs and climbs and climbs, and we shift the burden. The problem with shifting the burden in a small town is when you shift 35% of the burden to 10% of the equity,
Yep.
I'll call it, because the value, it's a big shift. So I'll just say, if you look at the numbers that Kelly's presented, the rate's gonna go down based on what we think is gonna be certified new growth. Values haven't escalated a lot. It might be the one opportunity you have to lessen the shift without upping the burden. So again, I know we're not gonna go back to zero, but if we can get back to 25%, 20% without putting a big increase on the taxpayers. And again, I know that, you know, we're talking about Old Colony and stuff, things like that might have a huge impact on all taxpayers, not just residents. But I think we take that up as it comes. That's not gonna be for this tax bill with certified new growth within a week or so. I'm very confident in the number. The state just has to get back to us on that. So I think we can bring this tax shift down a little bit, which is not historic, but it does give you room to play down the road, and that's what I mentioned last year. You get to 35, you get to 40, you get to 50, you run out of room if you actually do need it for something, but that's just my input on it. I do think the less of a shift is a more fair and equitable way to tax.
Alright, good stuff. So I guess there's a motion to adjourn the selectmen's meeting.
So moved.
Second that, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, guys.